Alright guys, I got a little project here. This air pump, I've said it before, this is an old air pump that came off of like a 77 Lodestar, and it wasn't set up for a air cleaner. And I don't know all the specifics, but I know that when I hook up the air cleaner or air dryer or whatever you want to call it, it pops. The air dryer pops at like 10-20 psi and it just stays popped. It will not, like, I don't know if this isn't flowing enough CFM or what the deal is, but it's leaking like crazy. And it works, but you can't dry the air, and the air tank fills up with just nasty sludge, which your air dryer is supposed to hold that and pop it off, but it isn't doing that. So I'm going to take this off. I have one off of a DT466 that was on that state plow truck I had. So I've got to take the air dryer off, the bracket, the whole kit and caboodle. This bracket I think can come off. I don't know if it has to or not. I can't 100% remember. I have to go look. But I do have a plate that'll go on here. The one that's just the thin aluminum plate. It doesn't have this extra bracket here. So, like I say, gotta remove all this and just redo it. Sucky part about it is I think I'm gonna have to kind of redesign some stuff here because I think it's gonna stick out farther. I don't really know, but I'm sick and tired of it because that thing fills up. The tank fills up, and then it won't let it shift. I assume that it's so full of crap that it can't put air in there, and then you don't have any air. So whatever. Anyways, I've got to redo this. I'm sick and tired of it, and it's just a thorn in my rear end. So yeah, and I'm tired of the oil leak. I cannot stand leaks. Cannot stand them. So I got to redo this. I'm going to power wash it at some point. I don't know if I'll have time today or whatever, but the other side has a leak. I'm not 100% sure where it's coming from. I think I know, but I need to button that up too. So, and then this is leaking. I need to reseal this. This is the Hydro Boost for the brakes, and it needs to be, I think it's leaking right here. Leaking right in here. There's a seal, there's an O-ring inside here, and I think it's leaking in there, so I need to fix that. But yeah, I'm going to try to fix this. Alright guys, sorry about that light. So, I put a shutter on the FedEx truck. So that school bus that I scrapped out here not too long ago, it had a shutter on it with the same intercooler as this does. So it just bolts right to the shutter just bolts right to the intercooler. I'll show you. And so I want a shutter on there because it gets pretty cold up here in Wisconsin, and I'd rather have a shutter and it does it automatically. Put the cardboard in there. You gotta do that, you know, because like if you travel, so say you start out in Wisconsin and it's negative 20, and you go south, and then maybe you're daydreaming or whatever, maybe you're a bad trucker, whatever, I don't know, you forget to take your freaking cardboard out, and the next thing you know, you look down and your temperature is 230, 240, God forbid. With this, it'll automatically do it. This is the shutter. So that intercooler over there is the one that came out of the bus. But this intercooler was the exact same, so I just had to clean the holes because I don't think it ever had one in it. So I just cleaned the holes and put some bolts in it. And so here's the actuator. So this has to go to a shutter. I can't remember what they call it. Let me look at what they call it. I scratched it up a little bit in the vise, but shutter stat. So basically this thing operates that. Well, it wasn't working, so I put it in the water and I didn't feel like nothing was happening. So I took it apart, dissected it, tried to look stuff on the internet, and I didn't really see anything on, take it apart and fix it. So I have a couple of these, and worst case scenario, I have to buy another one. Everything that I was seeing on all the threads was like, oh, you can't buy them. Well, I mean, you just Google it, and they're they're everywhere, so I don't really know, but they're like $100, give or take. So this right here goes in this, like that, and then this other piece, wherever it's at, oh, this piece, I can't set my phone down. This goes, get my tongue right here. This goes in that, sticks down through that, sticks up through this, and then your air goes in here, and then goes out here, and you can see it's 180 degree. So at 180 degrees, it opens, so this goes up in here. And then there's a bunch of parts in here, you know, air cleaner, that's an air cleaner. So this is an air cleaner. But nevertheless, there's a check ball. So this little piece here goes on this, in between the spring and this. And there's a little check ball somewhere in there, right there. And that pushes up against something or another. And however it works, I still ain't quite figured out how the air routes to over here. But it routes to over here and it comes out. And it will actuate that valve. And so it was really gunky and nasty. This is probably the one that would be the gunkier and nastier, because this come off an engine that had been sitting in the woods for eons. But I have at least one more of these. I have actually two more of these that I know of. One of them is broke. I broke it earlier because I was ripping the radiator out and didn't even think about trying to save that. But anyways, so there's a bunch of O-rings in here. I'm going to have to make these O-rings. These O-rings they're like plastic. I can't imagine that's supposed to be a piece of plastic. I mean, it might be. Maybe I don't have to replace that. Because, I mean, I figured it was O-ring, but that's like plastic. So, but this one, so that is just breaking apart. Maybe it was supposed to be plastic, but it ain't. I don't know. That goes, I can't remember where it goes. I think when I go putting it back together, I'll remember where it goes. But this is an O-ring, and I can make a new one of those. It probably was like a flatter type of thing, but I'm just going to put an O-ring on it. That seals to that. So I'll just make an O-ring for it, and that will seal. So, oh, and so I couldn't get this to open. So basically, I just pulled this needle out of here, or whatever you want to call it. I pulled that out of there, and I don't have a pipe cleaner. I don't know where I had a few pipe cleaners, but I don't know where any of them are. But I stripped a piece of wire. I don't know where it's at now, but right here. I just stripped this piece of wire and just kind of ran it in and out, and round and round, and sprayed some brake cleaner in it. And I polished this, and it works now. I put it in the water, and it does open now. So yeah. Just dive into your parts and try to clean them, you know, try to figure them out. You never know, you might be able to fix it. The thing is, if it's broke, you can't broke it more. Alright, so for some reason this thing quit working. I don't understand why, but this one was 180. So I got another one. It's 185. But it's coming on at like 165, 170. So and that closes the shutter. So the shutter is normally open. So this will shut the shutter. So it's normally open. So this will provide air to shut that until whatever temperature that it closes the valve in here. So at 165 is when it would close it. So it's supposed to do it at 185. So I'm going to just clean it and see if that helps anything. Those screens in there probably need to be cleaned anyways. That probably doesn't help anything because this is what opens and closes it. This is the thing that it's got a multi-metal or whatever. I don't know what they call that, but you know, it's a whatever. All right, so this one was shutting at like 165 or something like that, 160 or 165. I can't remember now, but so I didn't really want to put that in there. I was just gonna maybe order another one, but I'm like, it's kind of crazy to me you can't get rebuild kits from them. I mean, I understand that they haven't made these in eons, but I mean, the only thing that you really need is this bottom part, and then there's like 3 seals. There's a seal from here to here. Here, I can show you better right here. So there's a seal that goes in this groove right here up top, and it seals it to this base here. And then oops, I just dropped something. Then there's a seal around this, which goes in the top. And then there is another one of those screens somewhere that I don't know where it's at. There's another one of those screens. I don't know where it's at. Anyways, and it has an O-ring around it, or they're kind of plastic. I know that O-rings can get brittle over time, but they really do feel like plastic. But the one that goes in here, when I took this one apart and cleaned it, it was gunky. It broke into a bajillion pieces. It fell out. So I just put an O-ring in there. I can't imagine that's not going to work. But it's kind of crazy to me that you can't get, just a rebuild kit for it. I mean, people are restoring these old trucks all the time. You'd think that somebody would come up with an idea, and maybe they have it. I just haven't found it. But like I say, all you need is this part. It screws right into here, and then 3 seals, whatever they are. That's all you'd need. But anyways, so I got to thinking, when I had this one out, you can see there's a lot of threads, and this is a jam nut. Oh yeah, and then there's a seal here, so 4 seals. This is O-ring. But this plunger here has a lot of travel. Let me see if I can get it out. When this one did work, I don't know how I made it not work, because it was working. I mean, this thing would come way out here. Maybe not that far. I mean, it would come out probably an inch. So I got to thinking, well, hotter it gets, farther that's going to come out. And obviously there's a bunch of threads here. So presumably you could adjust the temperature, the activation temperature, by just adjusting this. And sure enough, that's what I did. And I got it, this is 185 what it says, but I got it to open at 180. The thermostat on that's supposed to open at 180, and I don't know what the technical, when you're supposed to open this, but I feel like that, I mean, if the thermostat's going to open at 180, then it needs to warm up to 180 to be at operating temperature. So I don't know, maybe it should be at 185. I don't know. I'd like to study on kind of what they were set at, like were they set 5 below your thermostat, 5 above your thermostat, right at your thermostat. Because I would almost feel like you don't want them fighting. You know what I mean? Like, if it's cold outside and this thing opens the shutters at 80 and the thermostat comes on at 80, and obviously they're 2 different components, they're going to be a degree or 2 off from each other. But that's, so if it opens the shutters at 180 and then the thermostat comes on at 180. The thermostat's instantly gonna theoretically cool it down a little, and then this is gonna go back on, and then 2 seconds later it's gonna cycle again and cycle again and cycle again. So you'd almost feel like that you'd want this to be set at a higher degree so that the thermostat comes on. So like if it's at 185, the thermostat comes on at 180, the shutter is still closed, and then the thermostat opens, it will cool it down a little bit, but the shutters are still closed. So then that'll cool it down. Say it cools it down to, say you're working and it cools it down to 176 or 78, whatever, I don't know. And then your thermostat stays open, and then the engine catches back up, heating it up, and it gets it back to that 180, 190. So now that the thermostat's open and everything is running at 180, 190 degrees, this opens at 100. Let's say you had it set for 185. Now this isn't going to be fighting that. They're not going to be on off, on off, on off, on off. So maybe I should put it at 185. I don't know. What do you think? All right, so I set it at 185 because I just feel like that the thermostat can come on, and then obviously when the thermostat comes on, it's going to circulate the coolant, and it's going to, in my mind, it's going to, maybe minutely, but it would cool it down a little bit. And then if this is set at 180, that's set at 180, they're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you know, in pretty quick succession. So I set it at 185. If it don't work out for me, I can always take it out and reset it. So I didn't tell you how I've been setting it, so it might be obvious to you, but some people might not quite understand. But so on here you have your inlet, and then this is your outlet that I'm trying to get it to show. Anyways, that's your outlet. It says it on there. And so you have, so in your truck you'll have constant air pressure here. This is going to be in your coolant. So somewhere like where your thermostat is, not in place of your thermostat, but in the same general, on your hot side. So what I did is I ran an air hose into the house, and I put constant air here, and it blows out here until it closes. And then I've got a thermostat thermometer or whatever in the water, and I'm looking at that thermostat, and that'll tell me what degrees this is coming on or shutting off. And so then I can back this jam nut off and then screw this portion here in or out according to what I need. So out would be hotter and in would be colder. So yeah, maybe one day I can find a rebuild kit for this. If anybody knows where to find rebuild kits for these, it's a Type 2400, I believe. Yeah, Type 2400 Shutterstat. If anybody, I can put a picture up of this one. I ruined the sticker on this one in the vise, but it was still complete, and I took a picture of it before I ruined it. So I'll put a picture up there of it. But if anybody knows where to get a rebuild kit for this, dude, I'd buy a couple of them just to have them on hand. Because I personally think that shutters are intelligent. I mean, that's a lot better than having to, especially if you're a long haul truck driver and you're going from East Coast to West Coast or North to South, and it's like let's say, I mean, really any time during cold in the north. So winter, if you're going from, you know, say Michigan, especially northern Michigan, all the way down to like Texas, even in the middle of winter, you don't need a bra or whatever you want to call it, a wind block, a whatever you want to call them, or cardboard. You don't need that in Texas, southern Texas, any time of the year, really. But you do in northern Michigan or northern Wisconsin. So I just feel like this is kind of the fix-all, you know? I mean, and if it fails, as long as it fails open, I guess, your shutters are going to stay open because they're spring-loaded. At least these are. But, you know, and you could always put, you know, a safety switch in your cab to bypass this. So naturally it would run naturally through the switch, and then if for some reason you're looking at your dash and you're like, hey, this thing is running hot, or you know, it seems to be getting hot, instead of having to pull over on the side of the road, or even if you do pull on the side of the road and you notice, hey, this thing ain't working, you know, what do I do now? To cut the thing or unhook it, whatever. And then if it starts working again, then your air is just dumping in the atmosphere. So if you just put a switch in the cab, you could just flip that switch and bypass this. So I think that shutters are a very intelligent thing. I don't understand why they don't put them on stuff anymore. I don't know a lot about it. I've never seen one on a modern truck, so I was pretty surprised when I seen that one had one on it. That school bus, it was like a early 2000s. I can't remember what year it was, but early 2000s. So, I mean, anyways, but the cylinder on that was sticky. Like actually the spring pressure on the shutter wasn't even enough to pull that thing back up. So I took it off and cleaned it, took a wire wheel in it. It would be pretty easy to take it apart. It's like pressed on there or whatever. Not pressed, but it's got like the little wheelie things. But I just cleaned it up and it works now. So, alright, so it's too long for where I have to put it. So that's too long. So I've got this adapter here. I'm going to thread this down on here and then tighten that down, and then this will still be in the coolant, you know, and that'll work. I'll show you where I gotta put it. So I have to put it basically right there where that sensor is. I can either go there or the one, that plug on the back there or whatever, right behind it. So I think I'm just gonna go where that sensor is because I'm not using that sensor. I do plan on getting a different, which I plan on doing a whole different dash, custom dash, so I'll have a different sensor in that or whatever. So anyways, and I can go in either one of those holes with the sensor, so I'll just go whichever one works for this. So, well, I got the air to here, to the cylinder fed. Got everything in there, goes through there, comes up. I got this plate on here. This plate was on that other intercooler. I really wish I would have just changed the whole intercooler. Really no in particular reason, but I had to clean these holes out, and of course this intercooler was already boogered up because it rubbed on this part here that I cut out now, and I had to JB weld it, but I mean, it should hold. It's not leaking, but I mean, if you have something better, you may as well use it. But, and then I took this plate off of that one. This plate covers up a gap, about an inch gap that's right here, covers that up. But I got it on here, no worries. Got my bolts in, got the little holders. Then I got a zip tie here. I still have to cut this off, put a zip tie there. And then it goes down to the solenoid here, or not solenoid, but shutter stat, I guess is what you call it. But so now I just got to run my other one. I'm going to run it up here and then across, and one day I'll get all these hooked up. This one's for the air horn, but I need to get all these buttoned up one day. Well, this little cylinder here, I had to take it apart because I put it on here. I thought I had it the first time I cleaned it. I didn't take it apart, but it popped up when I aired the truck up, and it filled this boot full of air, and it was leaking. So I popped this out and sanded it out. I wish I would have had a different O-ring. I just used that O-ring kit I got and put an O-ring in there and just made the O-ring a little bit bigger, so it was a little bit loose on the plunger in there, and I put it in there, and it works now. So good deal. Well, it's daylight again. I like to work, and sometimes I end up working all night. My wife wasn't here until like maybe 2 this morning. She had went to way down, I think, Illinois to get a dog, but so I didn't really have a reason to go in. And of course, when she got here, she's like, "You want to come to bed?" And I'm like, "No, it's 2, 3 in the morning. I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep anyway." So, but she's asleep, and I am rough. But so I got this tank off. I got the other tank off because so these tanks come off of a GM semi, and I really like how they had them mounted. There's like a plate that mounts to the side here, and it goes over this hole like that, and then it mounts. They had it mounted to the frame. I've got mine mounted to the top, and then there's a threaded rod. So right here you can see this little hole here or whatever. The threaded rod goes through that. In my application it doesn't, because if it was on the frame, then that would be just right where the drain would be down. But the way I have it, it's mounted up, so the thread rod don't go through that little hole, but don't have to. But the piece, it has like a hole here on this bracket that goes over here, and it just kind of squeezes from here to that bracket down there. Anyways, whatever. The other one I didn't do that with because for some reason I only saved 2 of those brackets out of like 5 or 6 of those. No, there's probably more than that because it had it on the GM, and I think it had on 1 or 2 of the Internationals. But anyways, whatever. So the other one I welded a bracket on. I think I maybe showed a video of that. Anyways, I couldn't get the welders to work that day, and it was just a mess. Anyways, it did have a little, the other one had a little hole in it, so I took it off and fixed it. Now that I got my welders halfway working, I still got to get a part for that big one there. But this one was full of just crud because I didn't have an air dryer on it. One reason is because I didn't put one on there, but then when I did try to put one on there, it wasn't, this pump isn't compatible with it, or it isn't compatible with the pump, whatever the situation is. So I took the pump off. I've got another pump that I'm going to put on it. So I've got to take this bracket off, and then I believe I have to take this off. And I've been thinking about turning it up, or advancing the time a little more. I think it's set at 19. I've been thinking about going to 24. So this would be a good time having this off to do that. I wanted to wait until I had my pyrometer in. I ordered the wire. Finally, that was a nightmare. I ordered some wire from some scammers. Anyways, whatever. They sent me my money back. It's a really weird situation. I don't know if they're scammers or what, but after I ordered it, like 3, 4, 5 days later, I called them like, "Hey, why isn't this shipped?" Because it said it was supposed to ship if in stock within 1 to 2 business days. It said it was in stock, and it hasn't shipped, and it's been like 5 or 6 days, and couldn't understand the guy. And so he says he'll email me. Well, he emails me. He says, can you pay $50 more because the new stock we took in was more money? I'm like, no, I'm not giving you more money. Kick rock, give me my money back. Well, then this woman calls me. I can't understand her. I'm just like, whatever, just leave me alone, give me my damn money back. Well, she starts emailing me. I'm like, dude, just leave me alone and give me my money back. Anyways, they finally did. So I ordered some more wire I just ordered it from 4 States, and Chrome Shop. And when it gets here, but I wanted to wait to hook the parameter up just to be sure. But if I'm going to take all this off, I may as well just go ahead and do it. So anyways, I got to get this off, and then all the bolts for this will be shorter because this will be like a kind of a thin plate. So I might have to go get bolts. I should have all the bolts laying here because I've taken these off of 2-3 different trucks, so I should have the bolts. If not, I'll just go get bolts. They're just standard, like 5/16 bolts or something. So, anyways, gotta take this off, and then yeah, go to that 466 back there, take everything off it, and put it on here. I need to clean this thing. I might shoot it with some brake cleaner real quick. Oh. Well, I got the pump off. I got the brackets off. I got the front plate off. So that's the front plate, and then this is all the brackets for that pump. It's not really the brackets for that pump, but it's the brackets that I was using for that pump. There's the pump that's going to go back on it. So this right here, that's your lifting bracket. This bracket here has to go on because over there, those holes there is that right there. And so it goes in place of this lifting bracket. So you have to take this one off, and then these two water pump mounting bolts have to come out, and then longer ones go in, and it goes through this hole and this hole, and then for that to hang on. Then I have to make sure this feed is going to be okay. I have to make sure this feed's all right, and then I don't have another seal for this. This one looks to be in good shape. There's one that is, there's another, see how thick this one is, and it's got this extra over here. That one don't have all that. And the seal that's on that one is pretty good. So I might just run to town and get some of this copper spray stuff and spray on it, and that helps it seal up. So that stuff is good stuff, but I ran out of it. I'm really debating on turning it up, advancing the timing. It's at 19 now. I'm really thinking about going to 24. So I don't know. I'll see. I'm still thinking about it. I need to go to town and get some of that copper stuff and some coffee. I'm out of coffee. I need coffee. Alright, so I went and got some of this. I'm just going to spray it on the gasket that's on that, because it's the side that goes into this looks good, and it's stuck to the plate. So I'm just going to leave it because I don't have another one of those gaskets. And the gasket maker you get from like the stuff like this that you get, you can get big sheets of it, but the stuff that I have isn't like the paper gasket. It isn't it isn't this wide, and I don't really feel like trying to make that gasket, so I'm just going to reuse that one. This is a good one too. I mean, for my situation, it's a good one. I prefer to have new ones, but I don't have a new one, so it is what it is. So I think that I've decided to advance the timing. So I think it's set at 19 right now. I think I'm going to go to 24 or something like that. 22 or 24. I think it's set at 19 right now. I'm pretty sure that the Governor Springs are torque down to 4 turns. It's kind of a common thing. I mean, it's an A pump. You can't squeeze but so much out of it. So, but yeah, I'm kind of leery about doing any more timing because I pull so heavy. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm in here, and I've been wanting to do it, so I don't know. I think I'm going to do it. And if I feel like I'm getting too hot, then I'll back it back down. But for now, I think that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I got it in there. I had to cut the fan shroud out a little bit. I'm going to have to remote mount the regulator. So I've got some holes drilled here. I'm going to put that here. My center hole for this one is a little bit off. I sanded, ground it down a little bit, whatever. So it'll be okay. So that's going to go there like that. And then you have one that comes out of here. And this one is the one that was, this face was the face on there. So I'm going to go from here into that. And then I have to look and try to remember. Oh, I might have to put another hole. Well, I should be able to come from this side. R-E-S. No. B-R-E-S. F-R-E-S. I don't know if that matters. It seems like I could come out of either one of these ports for this function. So one of these goes to the air dryer and then the other one goes to the tank. But it would seem like this port, and this port, these 3 ports would do the same thing, and then these 3 ports would do the same thing. So I wouldn't have to drill a hole over there. I mean, I could always put it this way, and that actually gets it. As long as those holes will line up without it being too close there, that might be better. That gets it kind of out of the way a little bit. Not that it's really in my way there, but anyway, yeah, I got to think about that. I would assume that it doesn't matter, because I mean, that's a pass-through. You can't really see it, but that's just a pass-through hole there. So yeah, that's got to do the same thing. So I'll just come out of this. I'll take this and put it over there, and then come from here to wherever it goes, and then this one to whichever one it goes, and then this one has to go to the pump. So yeah, good deal. You can see there where it scratched when I put it up there. Sorry, my camera's probably pretty dirty, but and then yeah, I got to run the coolant lines. I've got to put the oil feed back in, or the oil drain, because I took it out of there to get it up in there, so I wasn't boogering it up. So yeah, on the road here. Gotta get my oil feed. It goes back here. I gotta get my 30 or 90 or whatever the heck it needs back in there. And then this right here, I'm gonna have to try to get that buttoned up. I can see it was wearing right here a little bit. This is for the throttle. That's gonna have to be done something with. I don't know how or what, but it's gonna have to be tied or something. So yeah, inventing. It's always a reinvention. This is one thing that I've been needing to do very, very, very seriously, but I have totally not been doing it because I've been so busy. And once again today, I have a bajillion things to do, and here I am, have this thing apart. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get this together. All right, so this bracket here, right here. So this hole right here is the lifting bracket goes here. So on the 466, the bottom of this meets flush with the head. I just discovered that this bracket does not meet flush with the head on here. It's 1 1/8 inch difference. So I don't know if they used the same bracket with a spacer on the 360s or what exactly they did, but I had to make this. So this had like this flange was like bellowed or whatever. I don't know what you call it. It was like sunk in here. So we built it up with washers, and then I burned this washer on the top. And then I fought like hell to get this hole drilled in these washers because apparently I don't have a big enough drill bit. So I drilled it half, and then I had to file the heck out of it. And then so we had to stack 2 washers because I had to get a longer bolt, obviously. So this is a head bolt off 466. So I cut the excess thread off, and then I put 2 washers on here because I do not have a tap that long, that size. Maybe one day I'll fix this if I can find out what bracket here they have for 360, and I'll get the bracket or the spacer, however they did it, in the correct bolt. But for now, this will do. So apparently I screwed up on measuring that bolt somehow. Whatever, doesn't matter. I just stacked 47 bajillion washers on it. I'll get another bolt one day. Whenever I get to town. The bolt store for me is 35, 40 minutes away. So, and my wife left, so she took the only other transportation that I have. And I don't want to drive to town for one bolt that isn't really, it's not substantial. It's not a head bolt, you know. So, but I'll show it to you. So yeah, I've got 40 billion washers on there, and then there's the spacer that I made for it. I mean, I didn't really make anything. I just welded a couple of washers on the bottom of it to even it out. But that spacer will work. I mean, it's just right. I actually had to take the file and file it off to where it was the exact, you know, measurement or whatever. But I got all that on. So taking those 2 bolts out of the water pump, it did start leaking. So I'm really praying that when I tighten those bolts back up, it just seals back up and it doesn't give me any problems. So if it was like a quick in and out thing, it wouldn't have bothered me quite as much, but it was like they were out for a while and it was leaking. So, you know, when it leaks, it might cause like a little trail through the gasket. I don't know. Maybe that's my own. Maybe that's not a thing, but in my mind it is. So I'm just praying it doesn't freaking leak. Then I gotta get another head gasket. Or I mean, not head gasket, but valve cover gasket one day. They're not that expensive online. They are expensive through the dealer. Sheesh. Like $300 or something. Or like $15 from PAI. Or PAI dealer, but. Alright, now I've just got all my plans for today. I was planning to go to the scrapyard, and it never fails. I go to do something and it just turns into a forever project. I wanted to put the shutters on. I originally started off going to put an air cleaner, an exterior mounted air cleaner on it. And then I got to putting the shutter on there. Well, then you put the shutter on there, you got to have the shutter thermo whatever solenoid doohickey thing, the thing I did earlier. You do that, well then you gotta have clean air because you're sick and tired of having filthy nasty air ruining your transmission, ruining all your air stuff. Your air horns don't want to freaking blow half the time because they're full of water. So then I'm like, alright, I'm gonna do that. Should be a quick swap. I kind of suspected I have to reinvent some stuff, but more like easier or whatever, but it never fails. There's always something that is a long drawn out thing. But I think from here out it's just basically bolting. So the hardest thing that I'm going to face at this point is putting the coolant lines on. I think that's going to be my hardest battle at this point because one of the coolant lines, so right now I just got them plugged. I've got 90s in them, street 90s, but they're plugged. So that would be easy to get to, but one of them is kind of underneath that bracket that I just put in. And you think, well, why didn't you do that first? Well, I wanted to do the bracket first so that I didn't get the hose in the way. And I think I'm going to be able to get it. It's just going to be one of those one-click things at a time, probably. I don't know. Maybe I've done it the wrong way. This would have been smarter to do the other day when I had the damn radiator out of it, because that would have been a lot easier. But whatever, it is what it is, and we're here today. This is what I have, so this is what I'm going to do. Alright, so I've got to get... This one is angled this way too far, just a little bit. It's kind of angled right toward the belt. And that one could go down a little bit more. So, that sucks. I was hoping to be able to take the caps out, put the straights in there, but I got them angled a little bit too wrong, so I'm going to have to take them all the way out and start over. I guess I'll grab a plug, put a plug in there. I don't know. I wish my petcock on this radiator worked. I could drain it down that low. It don't freaking work, so I just got to try to catch it, I guess. I don't know. Something. Alright, guys. With a lot of force, I was able to loosen both of them. And then after it was loosened, I was able to tighten it back to where it needs to be. They're really, really tight. Probably a bajillion foot-pounds more than they need to be. Especially with some good Loctite on there. Pneumatic Loctite. But it is what it is. So these caps off of like Lucas, or like the squeeze bottles, or like, you know, rear end grease or whatever, those things work really good. I've also, somewhere, I have some of those orange deals that you can put in here, but I'm telling you, these right here stay in a lot better. You know, if they've got like those little ridges, and man, they stay in these things really good. So when I pull those caps out, I'll put this in there quick, and I won't lose but a few drops of coolant. And then I'll get my pump back on, get my hoses on my pump, and get everything routed the way I want it. And as simultaneously as possible, I'll go ahead and get both hoses cut where I need them, get everything where I like it. And these are push lock, and the hose that I have is push lock. So basically what that means is you actually don't have to have a worm clamp. These right here, when that hose goes on there, you cannot get it off. It locks in place. This one right here is not a push lock fitting. See how these ridges are a lot bigger than those ridges? This right here is a push lock fitting. This one is not. So this one will have to have a worm clamp, but this one will not. Although I may put one on there, but it doesn't have to have one. But anyway, so yeah, I use these for these. So basically, what I'll do, I'll get my hoses cut where I need them, and pull these out, and put the hose on there quick, and I shouldn't lose very much coolant at all. I need to clean the inside of them out a little bit. This one isn't bad. This one is cruddy. What does that word even mean? I'll make up words as I go. Alright, here I go, I reckon. Alright, there they are. They're on. Sprayed everything down with some brake clean it off a little bit. I want to power wash this after I'm done, but try to tidy up a little bit as I go. But see, those caps are holding really nice. That'll hold till I get everything on there. And I mean, you got to get a pair of pliers to pull them out. They're pretty tight. This one snugged right down. I don't really like when pipe thread does that. I don't really too much care for that. But that pneumatic Loctite, it'll lock that thing tighter than Dick's headband. So not super concerned. So all right, I've got the oil line hooked up, the coolant line's hooked up. One of the coolant lines where it goes into the engine, I can't get the damn thing tight. I can't like tighten it because it's so cramped. I'm gonna have to have my wife help me with 37 feet of extensions and 8 or 3 wiggle wobbles when she gets home. It might not be that bad, but right now I'm working on getting all the air hooked up. So right here is the Dungabob Majigger governor. So this one here goes over to the pump over here, and then this one goes to the regulator, I think, or the air dryer, I think. I have to look it up again. And then I think this one goes to the wet tank. So I'm gonna triple check that as I go, so I don't screw something up. But I think that's a really nice mounting location, because it just was not gonna work on the back of the deal there. So I ordered another filter for this because I messed it up. I think I dropped the pump on it or something and it crushed it. But I'm thinking about I think if I take this off, I can actually put a deal like this in it. I think I can put this on there. And then, why is that in the dirt? Because I don't really care. It needs rebuilt if I'm going to ever use it again. And then this will go into the air cleaner. And it would suck a little bit cooler air, keeping everything a little bit cooler. I'm not sure. I mean, I ordered the filter. I might just put that on there. But this engine bay, it gets pretty warm. Because it's so secluded, isolated, whatever the word you want to use. I don't know what word to use. So yeah, I'm going to get this hooked up. And whenever my wife gets home, we can get that coolant line hooked up. There's my oil line. And then there's one coolant line. The other one comes off the back there. But yeah, and I got to get this down. This is the pipe that was on it when it come off the other truck. I don't have it tight yet, but I'm going to use that. And then I've got some braided stainless that I think I'm going to go from there out. That's how they had it. And that's how they do a lot of them. Excuse me. So I think that I've got enough to do that the right length from other trucks. So I think I'm going to do that, and I am really, really anxious to wash this thing because I cannot stand oil leaks, and all this oil is from that dumbass pump. So I want to get this cleaned up. Well, we got the last clamp on. Daphne had to help me. It's that clamp down there. Right there. she could have been closer, but I don't know, whatever. I didn't know how far away she's gonna have to be, so I told her to get every extension she could find. But yeah, we got it on there. So yeah, cool deal. I've got to you can get off there, hon. I've got to the only thing I have to do yet, so I've got everything hooked up. I've got my regulator hooked up. I've triple checked that. That should be right. I need to put wear protection here. I wish I had some more of this stuff. That stuff's pretty nice, but I don't. So I need to put a wear protection here, and then so I swapped the front tank. The way they said they're on the passenger side. One's in the front, one's in the back. The front tank is closest to the transmission. That was the first one I had in there. That was the only one that I had in there for a while. Man, I look scary. So I put the other one in there for, extra capacity, really, more than anything. And so, anyways, the way that I have all the hoses routed and everything, it was handy just to leave the front one as the secondary tank and route my supply line to the back tank as my wet tank. And I routed it all the way to the back of the tank because these two tanks only have port in the front, port in the back, and then one on the side like this, and then one on the very bottom. So the very bottom is a drain, and then the other three, you're pretty limited. I could weld another one on there, but I don't want to do that. But anyways, so I went to the very back of the back tank with the supply. And that being said, that's where I had my air chuck for, you know, airing tires and stuff up or whatever you need on the road. So, um, in the front, on the side, on the long side, is where I did have the supply. So, that port, I want to run from that port to the back. I wanted to do it with stainless line, but I'm out of that. I'm out of stainless line. I don't have that much stainless line left. I have a piece over there, but the end's cut off of it. So I might just use plastic and run to the back and put me a maybe a bulkhead through there or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, just so I can, you know, plug some air in the back. But other than that one fitting, I think it's done. I am extremely excited to get this thing started, let it go through a cycle, and see how it works. I do have to button one other thing up. So this, I showed it earlier. I don't know if I'll put that in the video, but this is, I can see it's wearing right here. This is the throttle cable. So I need to do something there to where that won't rub. There's a hole right there. So I could come down here and just put me a stay on it, you know, like these. And then put like a piece of rubber or whatever. I could just take my, it's really not that sharp, you know, so I don't know. But I could just put a piece of rubber behind it and put a stay there. So I need to do something with that. But anyways, other than that, it fit in here a lot better than I thought it would. I was afraid it was gonna be sticking way out, and I was gonna have to reorganize this whole thing. But all the reorganize I really had to do is cut this out. You know, I mean, all the pipes and stuff were done different, but yep. I think it's like 9 o'clock at night. I've been up since yesterday morning, so, and surprisingly, I'm not too tired. Hardly at all. I guess I get my adrenaline up and I just want to go, so. Well, I got it started. There's no leaks that I see. Everything sounds good. I'm saying, like, as far as oil leaks, obviously I can't hear an air leak, but see if it's building air. It's building a little bit, maybe. Alright, one of the petcocks was open on the tank, so I got that fixed. That gauge sticks a little bit too sometimes. Well, it seems like everything's holding. Except the slave valve on the transmission. I've been known it was bad. I gotta order another one. I've got some out there on a couple of those transmissions, but I'm kind of past the point of changing them, so I just don't want to swap this and swap that, and whatever. I'm just gonna order a new one. But other than that, everything seems to be working great. The hair dryer popped and didn't stay popped like it was with that other stupid compressor, so yeah, it's after 10 o'clock, 10:39. So I started on it yesterday at about 5 o'clock maybe, and went all night and then all day today. So, but it's not that I'm slow, it's I had to kind of reinvent a lot of stuff, and I also wasn't working on the air the whole time too. I at first I put that air the shutters in here on the front, and I got the shutter valve done, and I tried to rebuild or tried to fix the one, and then that didn't work, and then I got another one, and that one did work. And then at first I had started on trying to figure out a external mount air cleaner, so like 379, 389s. I think Kenworth has them on the outside, like W9s, stuff like that. I want an exterior mounted one. I have one out here I was trying to rebuild because it had got damaged when we took it off the truck. And then I thought, I should see if I can get a filter for it, because it's, from the 70s. And I can order one online 2-3 weeks out. So I got discouraged on that. And then I have another one that's not an exterior, but I can make an exterior. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I kind of like something that looks decent. I don't want to gear rig it, but the grill on the front here, I'm going to have to do something about that. I chopped it up. So I'm going to have to, what I'd really like to do is just build a whole custom hood. But I don't have a TIG welder, and if I did, I'd want to do it out of aluminum. And I don't know how to TIG, but I could learn. That big welder I've got, it can run a TIG, so I'd like to source one for it and try to do that one day. But for now, I'm gonna have to try to find something and custom design something for it, for like a grill. But right now it's just a big huge hole there. So anyway, I think I'm gonna go take a shower and go to bed. I think my wife would like that. She wasn't too happy I didn't come to bed last night. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Very happy with it. So good night.